What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be doing war attacks, but the primary focus of this video is going to be talking about Black Cat and the blog that she just released in right there. So we'll be talking about that, giving the impression of that. I hate just reading off, so I wanted to show some like gameplay while we went about it. So let's do that. We'll start off. Let's just take out this team right here. We'll start with our Weapon X team. And let's jump right into it. Okay, so Black Cat Legendary, joined by Photon, Miss Marvel Hardlight, so a variant on Miss Marvel, Ghost Rider Robbie, who's another variant, OG Strange is getting a rework. Hopefully it's better than the Scarlet Witch rework, but I wouldn't assume that. I know nothing, but I just wouldn't assume that. Then we have Arena Team. So return to the cookie cutter team. So on one hand, you know, they want us to start theory crafting again. On the other hand, we're getting a cookie cutter arena team. But this is kind of par for the course, because when we had the Four Horsemen team, Darkhold was the first team released, right? And we had that arena team. The Darkhold was the arena team. So we're kind of getting like the next iteration of that. So I'm not surprised. I don't think it's the end of the world. With that in mind, Black Cat is going to be the Morgan Le Fay of the team. So uber important. Definitely going to be the biggest damage on the team. Going to be taking a bazillion turns as we get into the kit. You'll see why. And so she's got the Scourge unlock method. So she is going to be needing Nowhere and Sinister 6 for those nodes, right? Like we don't know if it's going to be for nodes 5 and 10 or if it's going to be for nodes. What was it earlier? It was what, 3, 7 and 10, or was it 2, 6 and 10? I forget which one it was. Might have been 2, 6 and 10. So I wouldn't be surprised. What am I facing here? Rebirth. I wouldn't be surprised if it's for 3 nodes instead of 2. I think they're going to be kind of going on the new thing with the Nova trial being the blueprint for it. And the thing about that is, I kind of assumed that X Factor was actually going to be useful, because if you have them super scaled up, they're actually a very, very powerful team. And it turned out in the Nova trials, gutter garbage. Absolutely awful if you were pushing high. If you weren't pushing high, there was a way to kind of cheese and get some use out of them. And I assume that's going to be similar here with this Sinister 6. I don't think the Sinister 6 are going to be usable if you're pushing high, because the stats are just awful. With the exception of Swarm, and I guess Doc Ock, but even then, like, not really. He's still power crept too. I assume it's just going to be horrendous. So I'm probably not even going to build up my Sinister 6 in advance like I did my dad bros. Instead, I'll just do Nowhere, which I already have built up. I'll try and get extra star level on none of them, actually. I have them, I think, all at 6 star. So I won't be doing that, but it's going to be interesting. I assume that we're actually going to get another very difficult section. Like, you know how we had the City Hero section, which was uber difficult? I kind of imagine we're going to get one built for these guys. This Infestation team, which, by the way, let me show you just a pro team that it could take them out very easily now. It's a frickin' 1 million punch downs. Better take it out easy. But I've been doing this on a punch up in practice. Actually, let's see if being a punch down is going to make it more difficult. And I'm not going to go for big time. I'm not going to cheese it, because I don't want to get used to big time getting one shot. I think that's just bad practice. So yeah, I guess we should then talk about, and even though you're blinded, you want to use the ultimate from Weaver here. Let me talk about this real quick so people have a better idea on how to handle this fight. Go for big time last, because you want to go for big time last. Instead, we're going to just kind of spread out the damage here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight for the Swarm. I'm going to ultimate or special him here so he loses his charges. It's unfortunate that the Yellow Jacket was as small as he was, because normally you get to kill him with a couple extra attacks, but this just wasn't an option because he immediately went into stealth. But yeah, so the Weaver charges protect you, and you just go from here. This is very, very easy. That's breaking up like 3 teams. Okay, so do this or use Nowhere, Prince of Peace. Take your pick. And then what are you going to do to one-shot Gamma? This team can't one-shot Gamma, so you might as well pull them. We got enough units. We got enough to make it work, Prince. So that Scourge and the cookie cutter and how their arena, all that aside, there's something in this blog that really, really infuriated me. You can use Emma instead of Quicksilver. You can on a punch up, don't. Okay, yeah, let's take a little break. On a punch up, don't. because your Kang and your Weaver are going to be ability block. You're going to have no damage. Your Quicksilver steals the charges for the Swarm, so even if he does get to start doing attacks, he's going to kill himself. And your Quicksilver takes 2 turns. He will not be blinded because he will be the 3rd fastest on the field. He will carry you. This is going to be your primary use for Quicksilver on giant infestation teams. And if you don't see giant infestation teams, don't sweat it. Use Infinity Watch. Build up your Infinity Watch to 1.6 million. They're an absolute asshole team to face in the Crucible. They'll get you some wins on efficiency and go from there. But yeah, I'm not going to fight you on this. I've been fighting 2.2 millions every day trying to hammer down the best team. There's a bunch of variants that work, and they're sketchy, and they will go down when you start facing red stars on your big time. Yeah, I saw a 2.2 in practice, so the live one I can only imagine. So the thing that bothered me the most about the blog, yeah, let's talk about it. The elephant in the room, the direction of the game with this awakened ability bullshit. Also, Steven, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Support the stream, buddy. You're the best. When it came to the awakened abilities for Nova, we could all kind of look past it simply because it was just for the mirror match. Also, Kel, thank you for the sub, buddy. You're the best too. It was... We could look past it because the thing about it was for the mirror matchup on War Offense. It was like, okay, it makes War Offense easier. These awakened abilities are going to decide the arena in a lot of senses. And if they go through the same sort of method they did for... I mean, let's just take her out, I guess. Oh, wait, she's got defense up and deflect. Let's take a scoreboard. Because it's in the arena, it's going to affect your cores, which is just a huge thing. It's not the same as affecting one war match if they happen to be on defense. Because if this is your team, you're going to put this team on defense. It's not going to be a thing. So when I look at the awakened abilities and I think about like, oh, we get them through RNG every time there's an event, and you don't get to decide which ability is getting which points. It absolutely infuriates me. What are they? The basic, it's good. It's not game breaking. It ignores defense up, which is going to be a big deal because you're going to make this character a striker because there's turn meter implications on her basic, which is always huge, right? The ultimate, when I read the ultimate, I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? It's a mechanical change. It's adding blind to the primary target and to a Spider-Verse character, which is insane. That's insane because she is Spider-Verse. So if you target somebody else, she's also going to get blinded. So it's going to greatly impact the mirror matchup. And then the passive, I spit my water out when I read it. I was like, what are they freaking doing? So enemies can't spawn with Death Proof. That is a huge part of Black Cat's kit. And enemies without Death Proof lower damage reduction by 15%. So now your Black Cat, if the enemy has these awakened abilities, is going to absolutely shred you. Absolutely shred you. Also because they're hitting harder. Because they're ignoring defense up. It's a crazy concept they do. Taco coming in with the raid. What up, Taco? What up, Raiders? So this whole awakened ability thing, it was fine and it was cute when it came to Nova, and it's gross when it comes to Black Cat, and it has me super concerned about where they're trying to take the game. If I'm being honest with you, I was like, what? Like, how do you justify this? It was kind of crazy. Anyway, it's just my 2 cents. So another thing I want to talk about is like, you know, we have all these new characters, and thanks to Tana and a data mine, we actually already know who the 5th going to A-Force is. Because I was going to pose that as a question. I already knew the answer. But I was going to pose it as a question like, okay, if this is the case, who's going to A-Force? Because we have Photon, we have the Miss Marvel rework, we have Ghost Rider, we have OG Strange. We knew one of those Secret Defenders, because this is the Secret Defender team we're talking about, was going to be going to A-Force for War. It's going to be Photon. But I have some concerns about that. Arena teams have always been absolutely amazing. Also, One Pride, thank you so much for the sub, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you supporting the stream. They've always been amazing outside of the mode 2. Think of Infinity Watch, think of Darkhold Hell, think of Black Order, think of the Apocalypse team. They've been great everywhere, right? So it makes me wonder, how good will the Secret Defender as a 5-man team be? And will it be worth taking Photon out to put with A-Force? What can she bring? And then the data mine kind of showed The main thing that she's going to be doing is she's going to be stopping her team from having speed bar reduction done to them. So basically, Spider-Man Big Time on the A-Force team won't be taking the speed bar that Jessica Jones gets away. So Jessica Jones will get first. She can strip the speed up from him, but if she hits him, she's still going to be giving him 20% speed. So I'm not sure if I'm missing something in the kit, but it seems a little wonky. I still think Big Time is eventually going to get his turn off. Now, Photon is doing other stuff like giving speed and everything, but it looks messy. It doesn't look like the same kind of hard counter we have in Nowhere, or possibly the same kind of hard counter you just saw me use earlier. Mechanically, it doesn't seem like it would work as good. Now we're gonna have to do some testing on that, and I'll have a video coming out on that. Hopefully, we'll be able to clear some of that up. But it really brings into question, like, why would I break up the 5-man team if they're gonna be that good? And they're probably gonna be that good. Like, I didn't see too many arena only tags in Black Cat's kit. There's definitely some, but not enough that I would say, oh, Black Cat is useless outside of arena. So I do have some questions about the whole the A-Force rework, and if it was kind of all hype, no bite, if you know what I mean. And is Super Skrull really the 5th member of the Secret Defenders, like Dorm was for Darkhold? 100%. Look, just Skrull's kit, you can't deny Skrull's kit. His kit is absolutely bonkers. He's gonna get so much speed and put ability block out. I actually wonder if this Secret Defenders team is actually going to be able to beat a Super Skrull Apocalypse team. Now, clearly, they're set to beat Apocalypse teams, but I don't know if they're set to beat Super Skrull Apocalypse teams. That's going to be really interesting. Cal says, Super Skrull is such a good mix and match character. I don't think he'll be pigeonholed into only one team. Yeah, I agree, Cal. I think Super Skrull with other characters will beat this team. The way he works with the speed bar, from the positive effects the enemy starts with, the positive effects they get, the negative effects they put on you. So if they're just throwing negative effects back at you, that's just fueling your Super Skrull, and he keeps popping off. So depending on what the rest of the Secret Defender team brings, a Super Skrull team could just knock them out of the park. Would explain why Black Cat has villain tag. The question is, there another villain on Secret Defenders? Could Robbie Reyes be a villain? The rest can't. I don't know enough about Robbie Reyes, personally. Also, thank you so much for the hype train, guys. You are the absolute best. You're the best. What am I doing here? I'll just use the regular burn on it, I guess. Just use the regular burn. I'll do the regular burn into Nowhere. So now I want to talk about the actual kit. Let's talk about the basics. Single attack, apply slow and bleed, fill speed bar, reduce speed bar, gain stealth if she's at low life, and it acts as a perma-kill ability. I think this is a really, really cool ability. Pretty exciting. She definitely in Striker when you think about all that turn meter rewind. She gets 5%. She takes 5% on both the regular attack and the ISO attack. So I think she's like a no-brainer in my opinion. But who am I to judge? Maybe I'm crazy. There goes the ult. Perfect. We got everything we needed to pull from the Gamma Apocalypse team. So her basic attack, Scream Striker. She's doing a slow on it as well and a bleed. So, you know, the damage, you know she's going to have a high damage stat because the rest of her abilities don't have crazy percentiles on them. So, yeah, I think she's going to have a really high damage stat. Her next ability, the special, it's going to be her opening attack. It can chain up to 5 people, but it's not a rebound chain. It's a regular chain. It clears 1 charged. It's a 10% turn meter rewind, only to the primary, I believe. Copy and clear up to 3 positive effects. She gains 10% speed bar herself, and she applies charge to herself. We'll see what her charge does when we get to her passive. And it goes through stealth, cannot be blocked or counterattacked. But this is not a crazy ability, but the fact that it's clearing charge is very interesting, and we're going to see, like, what does that mean? Who is that a shot against kind of thing? And what team has that many charges? Except the mirror matchup. Obviously, the mirror matchup is going to have charges if she has charges. Who else in this team is going to have charges? And then will that feed into the whole awakened ability thing? Which is kind of crazy. So it's a very interesting attack. And in the mirror matchup, it'll probably play a bigger role than what I'm thinking it will. But I'm open to being absolutely just dumpstered wrong on that one. Then we have the ultimate. The ultimate is so long, I had to say just look up the blog in my little notes here. So, do the following action to the primary target. Clear immunity, transfer all negative effects invulnerable from self, copying clear charged, and all positive effects excluding taunt to your copying and clearing charged, and all positive effects. So if the enemy team is relying on charged, and you're able to just steal it from them. Say if you have the turn meter, you go first. Do you want to go second though, so that when they steal it from you, you steal it right back from them? It's an interesting thing that we'll have to play around with. I'm just hoping that it's not the same kind of like wonky RNG fest that we have with Darkhold. Darkhold was the worst for RNG. Infinity Watch, we can kind of map out the right progression path. If you just went for Phyla first, or you went for Nebula first, and you didn't use the Nebula ultimate to start, if you opened up with her special or her basic instead, you can win the Infinity Watch mirror matchup quite often. But the Darkhold matchup was an RNG fest. It was a speed bar shenanigans fest. Like, who goes first? Well, that fuels the enemy Morgan, so now their wand goes faster than yours. Or their Strange can go and rewind your Strange sooner because it was a crazy RNG fest. And I just hope that's not going to be the case here because it's just gross. So what else? In Arena, if this character has trauma, she'll apply trauma to the enemy. So it's kind of like rebounding the trauma, which is kind of cool. What team am I using here? Let me think for a second. We already used Quicksilver. Well, let's just use an Eternal team. We don't need you. Let's use actually, you know what? Let's use Death Seed here. We'll use the Eternals against the, just so I don't have to think. Attack for 500% piercing. So that's what I mean. It's piercing damage for sure, but that's not a super high number. When you think about, like, Skrull is doing like 1,000% piercing damage, right? The music is louder than me. Okay, I'll turn it down in post at least, but let me fix it for the Twitch stream. Yeah, and then reducing speed bar by 20%. Do the following actions to this character. Gain immunity. In Arena, if the primary target has Safeguard, she's going to gain Safeguard. Then she fills her own speed bar by 20%. Gains charge. Enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived, which is really cool, and it's unavoidable. So I'm seeing a lot of, like, don't try and bring Undying to beat this team in war. We'll see how this team goes in war. Like, I imagine this team is going to be a very chunky team in war defense, just like Infinity Watch, just like Black Order was. So we'll see how that goes. But it's kind of crazy. I don't know. The ultimate, it doesn't seem as, like, devastating as I would think, which makes me just worry about her damage stat. Maybe she's going to have the highest damage in the game. Maybe she's going to, like, blow Val out of the water. Because 500% piercing is not huge. Her special is only 300% piercing. Her basic is 228% piercing. These are not, oh, sorry, 320% piercing, and 228 was the counterattack. These are not, like, astronomical numbers for an Arena character that we've seen in the past. So I'm pretty sure that her damage stat has to kind of make up for that, or someone on the team has to come and give like 50-60% damage or whatever the case may be. So I'm a little concerned in that regard. Then here's her passive, and this is where we talked a little bit earlier about it. It just gets stupid, right? What do I have here? Do I have Infinity Watch available? What am I doing here? Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, this is where the whole, you don't get death proof on spawn, and so you get damage reduction reduced. This passive, that awaken part is bad enough, but when you start taking into account the rest of it, it's crazy. So she spawns with Safeguard, Immunity, and 9 death proofs. So you're kind of tempted to bring in Apocalypse, but a lot of what she does just dumps on Apocalypse, stealing his charges, throwing debuffs back at him, taking charged off of him so that, we already said that, but so she can attack him and not get stunned, that kind of thing. Let's just put this on up. It's going to be a long fight. And then she clears Revive once from all enemies. So RIP Dorm. No more Dorm. Done. If any enemy had Revive once, she's going to gain Revive once. So if you do bring Dorm in, you're making her better. You definitely don't want to do that. And then here's where the charge comes in. So we saw that she can steal charge. She gets charged on her special. Does she get on her basic? Yes, she gets on her basic and on her ISO attack. So another reason to make her a striker for sure. And she can get it on her ultimate. So she's getting charged. Once she hits her third attack, she should be at 5 charged. Unless you're not doing the mirror matchup, in which case you're probably just dead. I imagine this team will absolutely destroy you. I talked about 9 revives, 9 death proofs. It's hilarious. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there's that. So when she gets those 5 charges, she's going to clear all negative effects, heal for 30% of her life, fill her speed bar by 30%, gain 1 safeguard up to maximum 2. So that's like a really big like rebounds for health. So you don't kill her by the time she hits 5 charges. which I think she could probably hit earlier, depending on the rest of her team. I don't know about the rest of her team. I'm not here to speculate on that. I imagine she could hit it a bit sooner, though. And then this is where the safeguard is so important, which is why the mirror matchup is awful. So while this character has death proof, this character and all Secret Defender allies cannot have their speed bar reduced. With the awakened abilities, all of a sudden, if you don't have it and the enemy does, it's so mind-boggling how pay to win that awakened passive is going to be. So if you don't have any of your death proofs, but the enemy does, you can be speed bar reduced, which is what the Black Cat team is going to do to you, and who knows who else on the Secret Defender team is also going to do that, right? We don't know. Let me just set this up real quick. Sure, we're not using you. Don't really need anybody else. Whatever, it doesn't. Yeah, so now you can be speed bar reduced, but the enemy can't, because the enemy is going to spawn in with their 9 death proofs. So you lose. You just lose. You get chunked behind in the speed game, and you simply never get caught back up, and you lose the mirror matchup. And so it's 100% pay to win on these awakened abilities. And if you didn't partake in getting the awakened abilities on the Nova, because of the RNG of it, and because you can get maxed out on the basic, or I think it was the special, before you get maxed out on the passive, you could literally spend hundreds of dollars while having 2 of them maxed out hunting for the 3rd one. It is the worst system ever. It's pay to win. It takes forever. Auto battle apparently kicked in. So it's gross pay to win. I really don't like it. But I'm still, this is a really bad step, but I'm still really excited about where the rest of the game is going as far as theory crafting goes. I assume this was already coming down the pipe, right? When they said that they were going to be stopping the nonsense with anti-theory crafting, I do believe them, but this is obviously a bad step. And I wish they prepped people for this, be like, hey, there's also an arena team coming, just so you guys know, and we don't know what the hell else to do with them except arena. They definitely could have just made it a Crucible team if they didn't want to suck, but, you know, they didn't. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm not going to do another attack, because no point. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this Cookie Cutter Arena team. Do you think it's too far a step back from the positives we have gotten? Or the positives we've been promised, I guess is a better way to put it, with the Crucible and all that. I can tell you that the Envoy program has definitely improved. They have fulfilled a lot of the promises that they've talked about. So maybe I have a bias towards positivity that is nonsensical, maybe. Let me know. You guys sometimes have a much better pulse on things than I do. I don't know. Let me know. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.